to Kildare we go next, and they have got a HR Onboarding App. I'm sure we're going to hear a little bit about AI, but anyway, please welcome Anne-Marie Goff and John Murnane.
Thanks everyone, but you won't be hearing anything about AI.
Great to hear.
My name's Anne-Marie Goff and I'm the Administrative Officer in Kildare County Council with responsibility for recruitment and superannuation. So I see employees coming in the door and out the door. So I'm here today to talk to you about our onboarding app. So where were we? Well, in 2020, our headcount was 1,141, which increased to 1,240 in 2024. So 99 is not a big number, as we all think. But during that time, 435 staff either resigned or retired. And when we're filling them vacancies, we're also including promotions. So there was a lot of files. You had over 500 files, paper files that we had to deal with, along with organising the interviews and the interview boards and probations. So where we started with the process was it wasn't automated at all. It was very paper heavy, and if anyone here knows me, they know that I've done records management for years and I don't like to see all that paper in an office. Everything was tracked between spreadsheets and manual forms being ticked. When, say, the references came in, we ticked it. When the, say, their birth certs come in, all of them come in, everything was just a tick box, which, as we know, can easily be missed. So it was producing large physical files. We had filing cabinets galore, and then when you're trying to find one, you could waste 10, 15 minutes trying to find one file. So we were also storing some of our information on digital platform. So our submit is our application process, which is digital. That was being saved, but we're also printing it off then to put it on the file, so double jobbing. Everything was decentralised, really. So the recruitment team would deal with the files themselves, but then when it came to doing the starting pay, that went to staff support. So there was a lot of paper going around the office. All of this made the management of the onboarding very challenging, because you couldn't at any given time just put your hand out and find the file you wanted. So we were also, it made it difficult to support blended working, and we all know blended working is a big thing now. And due to GDPR, you couldn't bring personnel files home, data breaches and all that. So in addition, the process itself is very complex and can be quite lengthy, especially if people require visas as well. So you have to be on top of all that. So ironically, we were firefighting, and they're one of our anomalies in the system. So we'll get to them one of these days. So what did we do? We contacted our IT department to see if we could work together to develop a solution to improve things. Now, initially, we were involved with innovation over a smaller system we were going to introduce just for notifying IT and facilities about people when we're starting. So that got thrown out the window, and this took over and grew legs. So for luck, John Murnane, who was allocated to us from IT, had only started with Kildare County Council, so had only recently gone through the onboarding process. So he knew when we were talking about pay forms and personal detail forms, he knew what we were talking about and had an idea. He's looking at me going, no, I don't. So we worked in collaboration to come up with the application that IT could develop with the suitable needs for HR. We have Dynamics, so it was a great platform to look at. We held workshops between IT and the recruitment team to discuss and evaluate all ideas, using an inclusive approach to the planning and decision making by encouraging staff to actively discuss and influence. This was most important because you will only get out of a system what you put in the system, and the people who will be using it are the people who need to put the input into it. There was no point in myself and John sitting down and devising a system, then we roll it out and no one can use it. So everyone had their input into it. No one's ideas were shut down, and Sinead Bonner was one of our key ideas person. She would come up with ideas at 12 o'clock at night sometimes. So we went through everything, all the processes that we carry out from the time we make the offer to a person to the time they start with us. And that was everything. So it was a lot, all the paperwork and everything. So it was very productive, like there was constant feedback through it. So we started in about February and we rolled it out live in October 2024. So it was roughly about 8 months. When we rolled it out, it was basic enough, but as time went on, all through 2025, it was like, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do the other? And we were very lucky in that John has great expertise and could do a lot with us. He even decided he could intercept CORE to get some information for us. So where are we now? So now we have our onboarding app, so we do. So it's fully automated. So from the time that phone call is made, offering the person the position, to the day they start with us, everything goes through the app. So it does. So it's tracked and we can track it in real time. So we can then see if it's taken longer for certain types of positions to be filled. As we know, the engineering and technical jobs are always the hardest. And you could be in the middle, you could have spent a whole month doing an onboarding process with someone when they back out. So that's all being recorded now. We have no physical files whatsoever. So that is the main thing. Everything is automatically, and we use SharePoint as well. So we do. It's fully integrated with iDocs, which is our filing system. So it is. And what happens for that is at the end process, when we update CORE with them and put them in and get their employee number, once their employee number goes into the system, all documents go to iDocs. So there's no more scanning either. We have full visibility of the onboarding process. So if a section rings me to say, right, well, where's our clerical officer? I'll just go in at split second, I can see where the clerical officer is. There's no more, oh, I'll have to ring you back, I'll have to go try find that file. It's just all there at our fingertips. It was taken, I suppose onboarding was taking people away from other jobs as well. Like it was so lengthy and time consuming. So now the onboarding process is, we can do more things. If we want, like we're putting more work now into our submit as well and into other applications. So you're not being bogged down with all the paperwork. Now you will see at the end stats that will back all that up. So the benefits of the system. So the recruitment process is now 99% paperless. The only bit is paper is the contract. So if there's any legal heads here who want to give any information how we're doing that, that is the only thing that we have that issues in paper to the employees. So it reduces the risk involved with documents going to the wrong files and emails, etc. As we all know, we can have people with the same names, very easy for things to go on to the wrong files. So this is all managed through the app, through email, and everyone has their responsibilities for each part of the process. It also reduces the risk of the data breach. We're no longer carrying files around, and especially when we're remote working, we don't have any files with us. It's saving significant man hours. So it worked out that we took about 45 minutes to scan an average personnel file. Now you'll see on one of the slides how much time that has saved us. So it's, and like that, we have the visibility at a glance of where every employee is standing. So I can say who's starting next week, who's starting in a month's time. It also captures a huge range of data that makes it available for reporting and dashboarding. So something we did last year, about 6 months ago, was in our submit application form, we actually asked them to put in their proficiency in Irish, because as we know, under the Irish Language Act, by 2030 we have to have 20% of the workforce sufficiently in Irish. So we ask them then questions in Submit, and when they start employment then we put that into the onboarding app, and then we can run a report on it. So we did a brief report, and Jonathan's given me 5 minutes there. So we'll get to that. So the most important thing about this, no budget whatsoever used. We used our existing systems, so we did. It was all developed between recruitment and IT. So we worked very well together, I have to say. So this here now is not a great, this is our active working screen. So as you can see, we have 14 active people who are going through the onboarding process at the moment. So that's the first screen we go into every morning. You will see on the left-hand side, it says current starter process. So once we agree the date, that goes into another screen. So it says agreed start date. So if I was looking to see when someone was starting, I'd go straight into that one. So then after that, it goes into the next stage, which is required further processing. So that's setting up on core, doing the manager's orders, things like that. And then the next stage is successfully move to iDocs. Okay. Now, most importantly, one thing that was never recorded was when people turn down a position. So now we record if people turn down a position, why? And we know with the technical grades, it's more than likely money. So this is one of the reporting dashboards. As you can see, we started in October 24 to December 25, we offered 563 positions in that time. Out of that, 419 were successful. Now, probably 200 could have gone since, but 419 were successful. 130 people turned down positions in our local authority. And if you can see on the left-hand side of the grid there, I can actually drill down into the unsuccessfuls and see why and what positions there were. So that's excellent, because we can work on that, so we can. It also tells us, say how many clerical officers we've hired, some are students, graduates, and we did the National Planning Graduate Programme for our region last year, so it was great to be able to have this to monitor it. But this is my favourite screen, and everyone will love this one. So on the right-hand side, the efficiency gains. So 166 days, 13 hours and 55 minutes. We are not scanning. So that equates to 33 and a half working weeks that we no longer are using. So I think that's excellent. And then for our climate people, we have saved trees, and we have not printed over 15,000 pages, which is excellent. Now, the money saving mightn't look great, but it is. And as you can see on that, the biggest thing we are saving on is our application form. So we were double jobbing, had our application form on Submit, but still printing it. We no longer do any of that now. We've also rolled that on a bit further in that we share all our data share file with our interview boards where possible. So we're really getting out of the paper. So what's next? Well, we review the app every quarter because like that, Sinead always has an idea, and she's got a few after being here today as well. So she has. So we investigate the possibility of including the contract as part of the 100%. So if anyone has any ideas around that. So developing the app to keep better record of vacancies. Reason being, we had a core upgrade a couple of years ago, and all the vacancies got deleted. It didn't create a vacancy, it only created the posts for people who were in posts. So we had to rely on the old spreadsheet that mightn't have been 100% accurate. So we've also included now the transfer procedure as well, and our temporary contracts. We're going to manage through it. So we're hoping to integrate into the automating the IT setup. That was sort of one of the things initially was for. And we're also going to extend it to handling the offboarding. So we'll probably have to change the name. It won't be just the onboarding app anymore. But we're hoping that we will be able to get all this, that we've been very lucky that we've had John and Sinead working on it, and of course the head of IT has let me have John for that length of time. But look, we have done demos for other councils, and we're always willing to share it around for you to have a look at. Okay.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Another great use of technology there. Having said that, we are going to hear from John. John, we're going to hear from you in a few minutes. John will later be going to try and solve the war in Iran because he was built up so much during that presentation. We need to use his skills as much as possible.